Ahead on NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
On this week's edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen, how one Virginia operation is staying successful in a competitive cattle market. Plus, growing the demand for American beef. What the latest export numbers are showing.
And now, NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Kevin Oxter. Thanks for joining us. Topping this week's cattle industry news, the 2012 election is only a few days away. NCBA is urging all cattlemen and women to do some last-minute research on their candidates and determine where they stand on policies that will affect our industry and our way of life. The outcomes of this election will have an impact on important issues like the death tax and the Farm Bill. It will even set the stage for how successful the cattle industry will be in the fight against government overregulation. NCBA Vice President of Government Affairs, Colin Woodall, says it's important for everyone to vote in this year's election.
All elections, especially this one, are important because this year we have the opportunity not only to choose the next president, but to also pick 1/3 of the U.S. Senate, and then also to re-elect all 435 members of the House of Representatives. And those people that win those elections, that come back to Washington, D.C., are going to have a hand in a whole host of issues that will directly impact cattle producers. And this election is going to have a big impact on our ability to fix the death tax, what happens as we try to finalize the Farm Bill, and also as you look at all the pressure that we have had from EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, over the years. This election will determine how successful we are at pushing back against the EPA and other overregulation. So that's why we are encouraging everybody to make sure that they show up to the polls.
For more information on voting requirements in your state or to learn more about the issues facing our industry, you can log on to our website at cattlementocattlemen.org. No matter who's elected to office, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association will continue to advocate for farmers and ranchers across the United States. But we can't do it without your support. We recently had the chance to talk with a few NCBA leaders about the top reasons to support NCBA.
You know, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association is important to our operation. It does a wonderful job in representing us on the national level, being a voice for livestock producers. I'm very proud that my voice as a grassroots livestock producer can be carried all the way through Washington with the help of the volunteer leaders and the staff.
This is our national voice. We're well represented in D.C. We know that's where the action happens, and we get feedback and information from all of our colleagues around the rest of the country.
Gosh, I've been an NCBA member since I got out of college, which was in 1979. I just feel like a trade organization like that represents us well, does things that we can't do as an individual.
I'm an NCBA member primarily because of the work that NCBA does for us on the political level and issues level. There are so many things that come up as far as regulations and legislation, that sort of thing, that an individual producer cannot have any impact on the people that control those things. But as a group, when cattlemen come together in an organization such as NCBA, then they have more of a voice.
Won't you join us as a member of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association? Just give us a call at 1-866-USA-BEEF or visit beefusa.org. A lot of organizations work with NCBA to keep your best interest in mind, including our state beef council partners. Here in the studio to talk more about that partnership is Kevin Thielen, Executive Director of the Kansas Beef Council. Kevin, thanks for coming to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, let's start by just telling us a little bit about your role there at the Kansas Beef Council.
Well, it's an easy enough question,
Okay.
I guess, Kevin. I serve as the Executive Director of the Kansas Beef Council, and we have 5 staff members in Kansas, and ultimately my job is overseeing staff projects. That's going to vary from, we have a registered dietitian on staff, kind of helping her with her programs, and then a marketing specialist, somebody who does producer communications for us, and then also a consumer. a consumer events person. And I kind of serve as the lead and the go-between for our board of directors, and we have 27 people that make up our board in Kansas, and so it's hard to know what my days are. Typical days are always changing for me.
That's good. Well, you mentioned your board of directors, and Kansas clearly is one of those states that have a lot more cattle than they do people. Tell us your board of directors' philosophy on how you choose to allocate the funds that you all collect in Kansas.
You know, since '86, or since the national checkoff began, the philosophy of the Kansas Beef Council has always been to try to get dollars to where people are, and basically trying to make the checkoff dollars the most effective we can. We invest about 35 cents of our 50 cents into the Federation of State Beef Councils. And ultimately, you know, to have a great coordinated state and national plan, I think that just makes the entire program better. You know, if you think about it, if we had 45 state beef councils who all had different taglines, who weren't following and under the same umbrella, your program's going to be diminished. And so, you know, Kansas, Nebraska, Texas, a lot of those centralized states invest in the Federation and do that so that we can have a stronger program in all.
And I wanted to ask you about that you hear a lot of people talk about the state and national partnership, and even some partnerships that go on between states. Can you give us some perspective on Kansas' role in that? You
know, we do a lot of strategic planning and coordination. And so when we kind of identify high population areas that maybe don't have cattle numbers to back up having a staff beef count or state beef council that's staffed fully. And so Kansas and Nebraska have been partnering roughly the last 4 and 5 years on different partnerships. One of those partnerships has been to get a registered dietitian in the New York Beef Council. Wow. And we've had pretty good success with that partnership. We actually are just finishing 5 years of that specific partnership, and you know, it's amazing the amount of outreach that Michelle, the registered dietitian there, has been able to get done. Yeah. You know, another partnership that we've been doing is funding a registered dietitian for the California Beef Council. And the California Beef Council actually also covers Nevada, so that would be the Las Vegas market. So huge populations area, but just not to check off dollars really there to have a full staff.
It's so good to hear those things. I think there's so many folks that don't fully realize where all those dollars go and how much time folks like yourselves and your board of directors spend in trying to figure out what is the highest and best use of those dollars.
Well, and that's exactly right. And you know, everybody's aware of the drought that we've been through, and that ultimately, you know, cattle numbers affects the dollars that we have to work with. Sure. And I think about my counterparts in Texas. You know, they're seeing some dramatic changes, and that's going to affect us at the national level because they are our largest collector. And I think this is a time period that we need to be more effective and really focus on where our strengths are as far as a checkoff, and definitely at the Kansas Beef Council level. So our board's been going through a lot of planning and trying to determine, you know, where are those areas, and you know, there's some programs that we've been doing that I think people get personally invested in, and we're taking a hard look at those programs, trying to make sure that, you know, it's worth spending dollars there. And so ultimately, I think we're looking at this as a positive, but we're probably going to see some changes coming in 2013, 2014, probably 2015.
Kevin, thanks for your insights.
Thank you.
Yeah. To learn more about the Federation of State Beef Councils and the work they do for the industry, just log on to our website at cattlementocattlemen.org. Ahead on NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
You know, with the beef industry here in the East Coast, the only thing that ever is lacking is how much imagination you got.
How some creative thinking is contributing to the success of one Virginia operation. Plus, a look at some extra benefits of being an NCBA member. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're watching NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen on RFD TV.
Get your boots on the bay for the 2013 Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show. Join me, J.D. Alexander, for Boots on the Bay as we attend important industry meetings and kick back for some fun with our fellow cattlemen and women at the Cattlemen's Beach Party featuring the Beach Boys. You won't want to miss the Hot Havana Nights after party with the Bellamy Brothers. For more information, visit beat-on-the-bay.com. usa.org. So pack up your boots. I'll see you in Tampa Bay.
There's something wrong. His head is down. He's clearly stressed. He's worried sick about BRD. That's why there's prescription Zactran for BRD treatment and control in high-risk cattle. Get a rapid response plus 10-day treatment and control in a single dose, so you can stop worrying and get back to business. For use in cattle only, do not treat cattle within 35 days of slaughter. Because a discard time in milk has not been established, do not use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older or in calves to be processed for veal. The effects of Zactran on bovine reproductive performance, pregnancy, and lactation have not been determined. Don't worry yourself sick. Talk to your veterinarian about a real alternative for BRD treatment and control. Because it's critical, it's Zactran from Marielle, a leading animal health company.
You're not responsible for the weather, just the cattle. And Rangeland works as hard as you do to deliver performance, production, and profitability. Cattle need consistent nutrition. They'll get it year-round with Rangeland products from Land O'Lakes. Deliver what they need free choice in weather-resistant loose minerals and mineral and protein tubs. Get the most out of your forage. See your Land O'Lakes Co-op for products that will stand up to whatever Mother Nature throws at us. Weather's coming in. Rangeland. Consider it done.
Welcome back. Effective leadership is one of the most important parts of an organization's success. The annual Richard McDonald Leadership Institute aims to give the beef industry's volunteer and executive leaders new insights into association management. Cattlemen to Cattlemen reporter Sharon Alseth has more from their inaugural meeting.
The annual Richard McDonald Leadership Institute is a new seminar targeted toward industry leaders at the national and state affiliate levels. Participants learn about their leadership styles and how best to interact with others to create a high-performance working environment.
I think some of the biggest benefits so far are just learning about what some of the trends are of some of the most successful associations in the country, being able to analyze those trends and being able to take that information and relate it to your own organization and determining how you can better manage our own association as well as our volunteers and become a more cohesive company.
Well, I hope that through this development of me, I could take back what I learn and make some improvements and be a better and more effective leader for my producers and for the beef industry in New Mexico.
One of the main teachings is about the relationship between the staff and the elected officers and how that trust bond has to be formed, and then what kind of management techniques that you can use in order to make sure you stay focused on the association's priorities and its mission statement.
The group at this year's meeting came away with a new understanding of association management. The knowledge gained at the Richard McDonald Leadership Institute will serve the beef industry for years to come.
Well, my hope and Richard's dream would be that this institute would last many years, decades into the future. And it would be just one piece. It's not the only piece. It's not the end-all, be-all. But it would be one important piece of the puzzle to, again, support the beef industry and help identify and grow leadership, effective leadership, both volunteers and staff, for many years to come. Richard would be very happy.
The late Richard McDonald devoted his time as CEO at the Texas Cattle Feeders Association to improving how his organization communicates and functions.
He believes strongly in association management seminars and improvement for both the staff and the officers to help smooth out association management and for professional development for the staff as well as leadership development for the officers.
It's a real honor for me to be here and learn more about association management and leadership and the legacy that Richard McDonald left behind to the beef industry.
Reporting from the first annual Richard McDonald Leadership Institute in Denver, Colorado, I'm Sharon Alseth for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
To learn more about the Richard McDonald Leadership Institute, just visit our website at cattlementocattlemen.org. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
When it comes to versatility on your operation, nothing beats a John Deere D-Series skid steer. They're not only great for cleaning and feed chores, but with John Deere Worksite Pro attachments, you can tackle just about any job thrown your way. You asked for versatility, and John Deere delivered. These rock-solid machines are built to last. See your dealer today.
I'm looking forward to having Vista once back. We weren't able to find an equivalent product.
I think our practice will be very quick to adopt Vista when it comes back.
All of my veterinary colleagues have all talked about the product coming back.
We're glad to have Vista back in the product line.
Cattlemen that we work with will be glad to have the product.
We have a lot of producers that are excited about it coming back.
Yeah, can I recommend Vista once? Yeah, that's going to go right back in the cooler, and it goes right back in the calves.
I'm an NCBA member.
I'm an NCBA member because NCBA, they look at the facts, they look at the history, and they look what's good for the industry.
It's important to be NCBA members just because of what NCBA does. They keep us informed about a lot of things that are going on nationwide.
The reason we're an NCBA member is we think that it's the best voice that the cattle people have. We think without the NCBA, why, we'd be in hot water back in Washington.
I think the staff at NCBA and the way they're structured do a tremendous job of representing me in Washington.
I'm an NCBA member because their policy is based on sound science and common sense. Join me today.
Join me today.
Join NCBA today and receive a new member gift while supplies last. Head to beefusa.org and enter the promo code C2C or call 866-USA-BEEF and mention C2C.
Welcome back. No matter what segment of the beef industry you work in, the ultimate goal is to increase beef demand domestically and internationally. And as a matter of fact, the demand for U.S. beef is growing in Asian markets. Cattlemen to Cattlemen reporter Brian Baxter has more.
This is probably what I'd call the locomotive of growth in the industry. It's the profit center, if you will, and so I think we're seeing more and more interest because the numbers are there. You can take a look at the numbers. It's just very, very clear. So the more we put in the international market, the better it is.
The U.S. Meat Export Federation is promoting demand for U.S. beef in many foreign markets, including Japan and Korea.
As you know, the worldwide economy is turned down. The dollar is still strong in most of the markets we appeal to. So there is some concern. Our tonnage is down, but our actual value of product is up 5%. So I think even though we've been challenged this year, we do think that we will exceed last year's value. So I think that's a very encouraging sign because we're still up 5% already this year on the value side.
In 2011, exports brought nearly $2.7 billion to the U.S. cattle industry. The positive trends outlined at this year's Cattle Industry Summer Conference show how important exports are for U.S. cattle producers.
I think the return on the dollar is obviously in the international marketplace for the producer. Right now, about $210 a head is coming from the cattle. And if you look in all the byproducts with the hides and the skins, you're basically looking at $350 a head. So we're going to keep pushing that mission.
Producers at the meeting also had the chance to taste several international beef dishes. Customers from overseas often use different ingredients, recipes, and cuts of beef from what's typically found in the U.S.
Yeah, this is kind of fun. We've never done this before in this committee, but we had some dishes that are used in different foreign countries, some of the byproducts of our beef industry that we export to these countries. It was interesting.
I think a lot of the producers are always amazed at the different ways that around the world that people prepare a product. And so we have, of course, beef tongue that's very, very popular in Japan.
Demand for U.S. beef is rising around the world, and opening up opportunities for freer trade can mean more money in the pockets of producers.
Oh, yeah, you add value. Anytime you add value to the carcass, it trickles back down to the cow-calf guy.
Reporting from Denver, Colorado, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
The U.S. Meat Export Federation and NCBA, in partnership with the Beef Checkoff, is working together to increase the global demand for U.S. beef. To learn more about these efforts, just head to our website at cattlementocattlemen.org. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
To advance the traits that are important to your cow-calf operation, why settle for Angus bulls and females that come with less information when you can have more? Compared with genomic-enhanced EPDs powered by HD50K, no other genomic test provides you with more dependable data on calving ease, growth, and other important traits to accelerate the goals of your operation. For more informed purchase decisions and faster genetic progress, one genomic test outshines the rest.
Seasons change, but year in, year out, year round, it's Crystalix season. With specific supplements for weaning stress in fall, protein for pre-calving in winter, calving in spring, and minerals and fly control in summer. For low cost per head per day supplements, every season is Crystalix season.
We know who made that hitch. We know who cut the steel, who milled the ball, and who welded the seams. We know who tested, measured, and checked. We even know who thought the whole thing up. We're B&W, and we know your hitch. Because we don't make them halfway around the world. We make them all right here. B&W. Trusted.
Welcome back. Did you know when you join NCBA, there are many extra benefits that are part of your membership? One of those benefits comes from the folks at Roper and Stetson Apparel and Footwear. Cattlemen to Cattlemen reporter Matt Fleck has the story.
This has been an interesting partnership with Roper and NCBA. We invited them to come to our trade show several years ago, and they came back and they said, "Your people are our people, and we would love to partner with you."
Well, I'd say it has been our best partnership. When you go into it where everybody wins, it's been a great win-win situation for us. NCBA has opened up opened their arms to us and to all their members, and at the same time, we've given a great benefit back to all their members.
One outstanding NCBA member benefit includes special discounts on Roper and Stetson products. New and current NCBA members can upgrade their entire wardrobe for a fraction of the normal cost.
If you join the NCBA and you're not currently a member, you do get 50% off your first purchase at urbanwesternwear.com, and then you get other coupons throughout the year for additional 25% off as you work your way through.
Also, if they attend convention, they're able to get a coupon at 50% off at the Roper display in the trade shows. So there are benefits for our existing members, but a new member also gets a coupon for 50% off for their entire order. The cost to be a member is so minuscule, and the benefits they get, for example, with this Roper partnership, more than will compensate them for the additional monies that they spend to get a membership. And I would really encourage all cattle producers to consider joining NCBA, not just consider, but to act.
The NCBA officers take pride in the industry they serve and the boots they walk in. The partnership between NCBA and Roper and Stetson goes beyond just looking good. It's about getting the job done.
Yeah, I've been wearing Roper products for several years, in fact. Roper and Stetson both are on the packaging, and I've had some of their shirts, I've worn some of their pants, I've got some of their work boots, I've got some of their shoes. When you're working, you don't want to be worried about comfort or about whether your feet are going to stay dry, for example, with your shoes. You want your clothes to hang together so that you can do the job. You want to just focus on the job and not be worrying about what you wear. And so it's nice to have good clothing you can count on that'll stay with you when you're working.
Roper and Stetson open their doors 12 days a year for their Friends and Family sale. It's a chance to see and touch their entire inventory.
Again, the 12 days that we open up a year at this warehouse is just pure chaos for us. But, it allows us to get rid of all our bargain materials, samples, stuff that, has been hiding in the rafters for a few years and things like that. So we bring all that stuff down and we turn it into just an awesome shopping experience for we call it our friends and family, but hey, everybody's friends and family of Roper, so it works out.
The deals on Roper and Stetson apparel for new and current NCBA members adds to the list of great benefits for joining the National Cattlemen's Beef Association.
I think cattlemen should belong to NCBA because NCBA is literally working to try to help them stay in business and be profitable. We're reaching out to the consumer, trying to help make sure that our product is something the consumer wants. We're trying to address the political issues that are affecting our producers, both positive and negative. We're working trying to keep exports going, and so we are working every way we know how to make it possible for people in the cattle business and in the beef business to stay in business.
Reporting from the Roper and Stetson Distribution Center in Denver, Colorado, I'm Matt Fleck for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
In addition to this great benefit from Roper and Stetson apparel and footwear, there's also another great perk if you call right now and become a member of NCBA. If you join us today, we'll send you a free 100 milliliter bottle of Dectamax injectable from Pfizer Animal Health. And if you join NCBA as well as your state association, you're going to receive a 200 milliliter bottle of Dectamax injectable. Just give us a call at 1-866-USA-BEEF or email us at c2c@beef.org. You must join both NCBA and your state association to get the 200 milliliter bottle of Dectamax injectable. State associations are a great resource for those of us who work in the cattle industry, and they also work closely with NCBA. Here in the studio to tell us about some of the benefits of being a member of your state association is Terry Fankhauser, Executive Vice President of our Colorado Cattlemen's Association. Terry, thanks for coming to the show.
Hey, it's my pleasure.
Well, tell folks a little bit about our Colorado Cattlemen's Association.
Well, the state association has been around since 1867. It's technically the nation's oldest association, which doesn't empower or entitle us to anything necessarily except to say that. It's a new business, it's a new industry. We're much like many of the other state trade associations. We believe in the general philosophy that working together and collectively we can get things done as opposed to doing it as an individual producer.
So let's talk about that a little bit. What are some of the issues that you guys are working on right here in Colorado right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I like to look at it as an ingredients and a product type of theory when it comes to state cattlemen's associations. It's really about the animals and the natural resources. We're seeing more and more regulations, certainly in the business today, more and more challenges with land use. It's kind of a haves and haves not world. Those people that don't own that land resource or own that natural resource want to still have a say in how it's used and in some cases have access to it. And certainly as we look on the product side, our state cattlemen's associations are really programmed to work on the producer side, but it's really all about the product and communicating with our consumers and making sure that beef is what they choose to consume for their families. So we're trying to evolve into a stronger partnership with our beef councils, our national organizations, and really talk about that end product as well. So we're really focused on kind of the ingredients of production and then the end product and making sure that it's something the consumer wants and will ultimately purchase.
I know you're a passionate member of NCBA and always have been, your family and so forth. Tell folks why you believe it's so important, Terry, to become a member not only of their state but also of NCBA.
Well, it's a good question, and there may have been a point in time where you could just stay on the ranch and worry about the ranch and not worry about anything else. I don't remember that. I really don't know if it ever existed that way. There may even have been a time where you could just operate in your county or maybe in your state. I don't think those days exist anymore either. It's really a global world, and to participate and be part of a solution that's going to affect some of the most basic decisions you make on your ranch or your feedlot every day of the week, you have to integrate yourself from a county level to a national level and be part of the solution, because the one thing that I've learned working with producers is they are passionate. They want to do the right things for the most part, and they want to be involved, and you've got to find a way to empower that, give them a voice, and the way to do that is through your trade associations. It ultimately is a grassroots policy process. It's meaningful to national policy. Divert just for a second and talk about national water law, animal welfare laws. Those things all originated with individual producers and worked themselves up to a national organization that passed them. So it's really important, and I can't stress it enough. It's the best investment you'll make in your business.
I would totally agree with that. Thanks so much for coming to the show.
Well, it's a pleasure.
To learn more about Colorado Cattlemen's Association or other state associations, just log on to our website at cattlementocattlemen.org. And don't forget, now's a great time to join NCBA and your state association. If you join NCBA as well as your state association, we'll send you a 200 milliliter bottle of Dectomax injectable free. Just give us a call at 1-866-USA-BEEF or email us at c2c@beef.org. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi there, I'm Joey.
And I'm Rory, and welcome to our farm outside Nashville, Tennessee. When we go to work, whether it's on tour or here at home, we wear the West.
That's right. Whether it's that perfect snap shirt or that perfect pair of boots, when you wear Roper, you wear the West.
Learn more about us, Joey and Rory, and about Roper Western Wear at eroper.com.
Telling the truth and being real and feeding my family a home-cooked meal. That's important to me. That's important to me. And planting the garden and watching it grow.
Fall time means sale time, and the 2012 Cowman's Kind Brangus Bull and Female Sale at Blackwater Cattle Company is just around the corner. This year's sale will include 200 true beef Brangus bulls, 20 select registered Brangus females, and 500 private treaty commercial Brangus females.
There's nobody in the country that puts more emphasis on soundness of skeleton, efficiency, and pounds.
The Blackwater crew produces genetically superior Brangus bulls that will put more money in your pocket.
We will not waver from trying to produce the very best bulls in the breed. We stand behind these bulls 100%.
The Blackwater Cattle Company Fall Sale will take place on November 10th at 12:30 p.m. in Lake Park, Georgia. If you're in the market for a bull that will sire calves that press the scales, produce unparalleled replacement quality females, or carcass up, make Blackwater Cattle Company your choice. We guarantee these are real beef bulls and the best in the country. For more information, call Mike at 229-232-3096 or Tracy at 979-255-4357 or visit blackwatercattlecompany.com.
Welcome back. If you head south of Washington, D.C., past George Washington's boyhood farm in Fredericksburg, near James Madison's plantation, and across several Civil War battlefields, you'll find the Goodwin family farm. That's where John, his father, and wife Mary run a specialized beef cattle operation that also has roots in the dairy industry. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Matt Fleck has more from Orange, Virginia.
You know, with the beef industry here in the East Coast, the only thing that ever is lacking is how much imagination you got. How creative and out of the box you can get is how far you can take this thing.
Imagination is a common theme in this part of the world. John and Mary Goodwin run their operation in the heart of Virginia, not far from where you'll find the homes of American presidents Thomas Jefferson, James Monroe, and Woodrow Wilson. The J.R. and J.G. Goodwin Farm started as a dairy, but made the transition to the beef business a few years back.
The management of the dairy was really Dad's baby. He had it all under control. When I came home from college in '92, I looked around and decided I'd either had to kind of think outside the box or grow up and get a real job. So I enjoyed the beef side of it, so I started looking into different alternatives there.
That's when John began a backgrounding operation to support the other cattle farmers in his area. It's a model that the Goodwins say fits.
We started with the working with other producers that had smaller herds or other entities that were their driving force, and started co-mingling these calves, putting them in 100-pound weight spreads so that we could then market them to feedlots, say in Kansas or Indiana, Iowa. Pennsylvania is still a major player in the Virginia market.
Virginia, we tend to have smaller herd sizes and all. A lot of our farms around here are all part-time farms where they have income coming in from outside. They're doing a 9-to-5 job like I am, and then have the farm on the side because we just don't have the real estate, the acreage to have a large enough farm to be able to have, bigger operations. And that's where we play in with the preconditioning of the cattle. A lot of the farmers will bring them into us when they wean them in the spring, and we group them together according to weight and then sell them on the board sales. We do all the feeding here, the vaccinations, and so forth.
Commingling herds and marketing cattle to other states means the good ones put extra thought into how their cattle are handled.
EID on its own, or the age and source, isn't enough, but it does two things. One, it gives you different marketing options. It allows you to tie in with an organization like CVCA. Hey, we don't take in feeder calves unless they're able to be age and source verified. And two, we're taking the initiative to have one more step as a guarantee to the general public that we stand behind our product. Each of our feeder calves can be traced back to this farm.
The good ones also bring several generations of experience to the farm, something that John says offers a unique perspective to their operation.
Since we are a multi-generation operation, you get to see it through different eyes and different experiences with talking with my father, or you get to hear about what were positive and negatives now as well as years ago. And when working with my sons, you get to see what they envision or what they perceive.
It's nice to be involved in the industry, and also it makes us a close-knit family. We're a very close family. We work a lot together.
By creating a specialized beef cattle operation, the good ones found a unique way to help local cattlemen through new marketing opportunities, and in turn, they are making history.
I get to jump up and do what I want to every day. Now, maybe it doesn't always turn out, but at least when I start out every morning I get to, there's no one thing that overrides the other. I enjoy it all in the cattle business.
Reporting from Orange, Virginia, I'm Matt Fleck for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
To learn more about the Goodwin family or to join them as members of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, log on to our website at cattlementocattlemen.org. We'll be right back.
They're out there, lurking on your pasture, just waiting to infect your cattle as they graze. Cattle worms cost you money, but a Safeguard strategic deworming program allows you to deworm your cattle and lower worm burdens on your pasture, resulting in improved pregnancy rates and heavier calf weights. Plus, there's a Safeguard form for every operation, so start killing parasites where they lurk. Talk to your animal health provider today about a Safeguard strategic dewormer program. Safeguard. Think strategically. Act decisively.
John Deere K-Series loaders. You asked for a machine beefy enough to handle your harsh work environment, and John Deere delivered. Axle coolers, reversing fans, and a dual hydraulic differential lock keep your machine productive for years to come. And with dozens of options, this loader is king of the cattle business. Your dealer can spec a K-Series loader that's just right for you. See your dealer today.
Hi there, I'm Dr. Dan Thompson from Doc Talk. Each week on Doc Talk, we'll be discussing important issues such as livestock management and welfare, important and new agricultural research, and how to keep our food supply safe. My guests will include nationally and internationally known veterinarians and animal scientists. So if you farm, ranch, or eat, you'll find something of interest in every single episode. Watch Doc Talk every Monday on RFD TV at 4:30 p.m. or online at doctalktv.com.
To stay up to date on beef industry news and the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, check out beefusa.org. You'll find news on both the Federation of State Beef Councils and the work of NCBA on Capitol Hill. Plus, link to NCBA programs like the blog, Beltway Beef, updates on the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, and the latest from NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Connect today at beefusa.org.
Oftentimes, there isn't a whole lot of time between when you get home and when dinner needs to be put on the table. Fortunately, there are plenty of great tasting beef recipes that really don't take that much time to prepare. And joining us in the studio to show us one of those easy weeknight meals is Chef Shanoa French from the Culinary Innovations team. Shanoa, thanks for coming to the show. And what are we cooking today?
Thanks for having me back. Today we're going to do sauteed steaks with a wild mushroom side. So it's something really simple.
Yeah.
It's a 10 to 15 minute recipe at
Perfect.
home. So as long as you have your ingredients, you're good to go. We're going to start, we've got our pan warm, so I'm going to get some stuff in here before we get too warm.
Okay.
This is a cast iron skillet, and it's
Sure.
one of my favorite in-the-house cooking method or cooking vessels. It holds its heat well. It's a very even cooking temperature.
Okay.
So add a little bit of olive oil in there,
Yeah.
and then we're going to add a little bit of garlic. It calls for 2 cloves, and one will start in the skillet, and then one will go for a rub.
Never too much garlic.
Never. Well, there's a point of no return on
I
that.
suppose
But
that's
yeah, so you want to get your pan to a nice temperature. Get your garlic in there. Get that working, and then we're going to add 3 cups of mushrooms. Now you can use whichever mushrooms you prefer.
All right.
These were sliced whole button mushrooms and baby bellas, because that's what we had. If you have oyster mushrooms or shiitake mushrooms,
Gotcha.
whatever you have, go ahead and use those.
Yeah.
Most important things when you're cooking mushrooms is that you clean them real good, but don't clean them too far ahead. They are a vegetable that will absorb a lot of water.
Oh, really?
And so it's best to clean them right before you use them.
I did not
Cut
know
off
that.
the bottom so you don't eat the stems. But give them a nice stir. You want to have your pan warm enough that you get a nice brown on them.
Okay.
Mushrooms will leach a lot of water. And so if you don't have your pan up high enough, then you'll end up kind of steaming them and they'll get soggy. So
And you have, that's olive oil, you said?
yeah,
Or-
that was a little bit of olive oil
I
to
see.
start in the pan.
Gotcha.
You can add a little bit of butter if you want to. It's kind of really up to you.
How long should I expect that to take? then?
You know, it kind of depends on your heat, but these are a 5 to 6 minute type process. If you like your mushrooms more well done, cook. But you'll definitely want to brown nice. While these are working, we're here, the most important part. This would be a little bit of extra garlic, and I've started with our rub, which is thyme.
Yep.
And remember, you can use fresh thyme or you can use a dried thyme.
Sure.
You need to adjust your seasoning. If you're using dry, you need a little bit more.
Okay.
And remember, when you're pulling thyme, you pull it backwards
Right.
off the stem.
You've told us that
So we'll
before.
show you that. And then there's just a little bit of chopped garlic in here. Real simple.
And what kind of steaks are we working with there?
Yeah, so this might be a more of an unusual cut for some. In the retail, it's kind of slowly moving into the retail case.
Okay.
This is your sirloin cap.
Oh.
Or in the food service, it's called a culotte steak. And like I said, some people are roasting the cap whole.
Okay.
Or they've cut them into steaks now. Yeah, these are
Outstanding.
great steak. They have a nice cap on them, which gives you some good flavoring, and then you can
Absolutely.
cut that off the table.
That's great looking.
If you can't find culotte steaks at the retail case,
Sirloin.
exactly. So it all comes from the same family.
Outstanding.
So I'm going to put these on real quick. You want to make sure that you get a nice rub.
You bet.
Both sides. You're going to season your steaks real good. Kind of press it all in there.
Yep.
Flip them over. Do the same thing. Obviously, you're using fresh herbs.
Sure.
So you don't want too many, or they'll kind of sear in the pan if you don't have a right temperature. And they're better usually in a skillet than they are outside. We're also going to throw on just a touch of salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper, sure.
And I'm actually going to add a touch of salt and pepper to my mushrooms.
Very good.
So I like my mushrooms not overly cooked.
Okay.
Kind of in that in-between stage. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull these mushrooms out of this pan. And we're going to cook the steaks right here in the
right in the
skillet.
pan.
So
Perfect, yeah.
it's a one skillet meal. Like I said, this burner's on low.
Yeah.
So I got it hot, and it'll hold that heat for you
Very
and give
good.
you a nice sear on there.
Both fast and few dishes. Those are my kind of meals.
Yeah. So we're going to get rid of these mushrooms.
Smells great. Yeah, I think, I mean, so many people think that you have to prepare and plan for a beef dish, but, like you're showing us, I mean, as long as you're going to grill something or put something in a skillet like this can be super fast.
Yeah. It's that nice if you do a little bit of planning, even if it's on the drive home.
Sure.
Like what steaks, or pop into the grocery store and get a couple of key ingredients. You're good to go.
You're ready to
All
roll.
right, so we'll let those set. Same kind of thing you do at home. Just
Smells
let
great.
them season in. I'm going to add just a touch more of olive oil. The other trick with cast iron is you never use soap in these pans. That's kind
really?
of they talk about seasoning your pan, and then it keeps building.
Okay.
So want to make sure you have a little bit of olive oil in there so they don't stick.
Gotcha.
And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and take these and just put it in the pan.
I'll be honest, most of my steaks go on the grill. So what are some, if you're going to do them in a skillet like this on the stove, what are some tips?
Again, it's similar, very similar to grilling. We call this pan broiling, and we have all the guidelines on Beef Cooked for Dinner if that's what you're looking for. But you want to start with a nice medium heat pan. You want enough heat that it's going to give a sear to the outside and not turn gray. So if you have your heat too low, you're going to kind of steam and get not the Maillard reaction that we're looking for. But if you're too high, same with on the grill, you're going to burn the outside and be raw on the inside. So I let this sit. Like I said, these are about an 8 to 11 minute steak. So you'd let them work half the time and flip them once. And then, like I said, they'll go directly. And as you can see, I don't know if we're quite there yet, but it's working on getting that nice sear on there. And that's what you want, is that good sear on the pan. And cast irons are great for that.
That's great. And when we're done, this is the finished product.
A simple thing, we just threw an ear of corn on that, but you can pick whatever your favorite vegetable is to have a great quick night meal.
Looks absolutely delicious. Thank you so much for bringing us another great recipe. And if you'd like to have more details on this recipe or any others, just go to our website at cattlementocattlemen.org.
Let's face it, you don't think a lot about your trailer hitch. You use it and forget it. We understand. But at B&W, we think about it. Short nights, the long hauls, the never-ending chores. The unthinkable. We think about it all, so you don't have to. B&W. Trusted.
70% of consumers want to know where their food comes from, and how can we ignore them? IMI Global offers third-party audited source and age verification essential for export markets and specialty markets like natural, organic, omnivoric, Eskimo, or possibly recovering vegan certified. For quality and age producers to the big boys, any cattleman who wants to expand his market, you're not just buying this green ear tag, you're buying peace of mind. IMIglobal.com. Christy and her husband had a gentle milk cow they called Judy. She just come in heat. And it was one of those nasty, soggy, late spring mornings where the rain had turned the corrals and fields into soup. Now, on prior occasions, Christy had borrowed one of neighbor Tom's bulls, but her husband said it would be useless to ask until the ground dried out. Well, not taking no for an answer, Christy drove down to the local cafe the next morning, where drinking coffee and playing cards was neighbor Tom. Christy asked about the bull. Well, Tom said he had 6 bulls turned out on wheat pasture nearby, but there was no way to gather them because it was too muddy. Well, if I can get one caught, can I borrow him? She asked. He gave her the slanted eye. You can't ride a horse or a vehicle into that pasture either, he warned. Well, she left. The room full of cowmen had a good laugh. Less than an hour later, she pulled up in front of the cafe with a big black bull in the back of her trailer. Well, according to her, she had loaded Judy into the stock trailer, driven into the wheat field, careful to stay on the good solid oil well road, and parked. And she led the haltered, hot, and happy Judy up and down the road. A quarter of a mile away, 6 bulls were watching this parade. And then, en masse, they started slogging through the mud in her direction. With something in the air, I guess. A siren song, a hint of romance. That nose-curling, blinding, no-holds-barred, bellowing call of the wild. As the charging front line of testosterone carriers neared the trailer, Christy quickly reloaded Judy in the front, closed the sorting gate, and escaped through the front door. The first bull never hesitated. He jumped right in. Christy slammed the gate, and off they drove back to the cafe. Back at the coffee shop, Tom inspected the tires for mud, stomping around the trailer, arms crossed and looking suspicious. How did... he began. I'm sending the story to Baxter, she said. I'll bet you'll be able to see it on his television program very soon. Oh, and thanks again, Tom. This is Baxter Black from out there.
Thanks, Baxter. Now let's take a look at the pictures you sent in for this week's Legacy Photos. We sure love seeing those farm and ranch photos. To submit yours, just visit our website at cattlemen2cattlemen.org. Next week on NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen, how Purina's Great Starts cattle feeding program can help producers have a successful calf weaning program. Plus, a look at how a Georgia operation prepares for sale day. And of course, Baxter Black and the week's news and market headlines. Well, that does it for this week's edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. We'll see you right back here next week on RFD TV.